Hi. Thought of another session of something to think about. And it's kind of tied to the economy, but it's mainly about prisons, the overcrowding, the obvious solution. The obvious solution to the overcrowding in prisons and to clear up a lot of the economy is a very simple one. We have rapists and murderers being thrown in there, and there's so many prisoners now that some prisoners are getting released early when you know they're going to reoffend. They don't care anything about society, or they wouldn't be breaking into homes, stealing, committing sexual assaults, murder. For some reason, we've gotten off track from how the early days of punishment was. A lot of things now are just given slaps on the wrist, when a severe punishment would be more of a deterrent. What we need to do is get back to executions, widespread across the board. I'm not saying everything needs to be dealt with by execution, but this will tick off a lot of extremist liberals out there. We need a more liberal use of executions. That's right. A conservative is saying we need more liberal use of executions. You liberal extremists, you can choke on that. They say it costs a lot more to execute a man than it does to feed him, house him, give them medical care, court costs. You know what it takes to execute a man? Let me show you. This here will do the job. This is a 410. Not much. A 12 gauge would be better. This does the job. Or it would if I ever have to. If the legal system was done right, things like this would be all you would need to deal with rapists and murderers. All you do is very simple. Push down this little button, put you around in here. It's a good idea to push this button down when closing it. Why have needless wear and tear? You point it at whoever committed the offense that warrants it. Not all offenses warrant it, but rape and murder does, especially when the assault is committed against a minor or against someone who is physically disabled and unable to defend themselves. Maybe someone who... There's a very good example that I saw it on YouTube and saw it on the news. A mother who had just lost her husband at Xmas time, and she had just given birth to a baby. Two guys tried to break into her home. It's like she didn't have enough to deal with. They had to pile on more. She did the right thing. She grabbed a gun, put a bottle in the baby's mouth, keep him quiet. Bang! That's the right way to deal with these dangerous types. And I think 3 times of being in jail or prison for drug use, especially something as dangerous as meth, should be given the same penalty as rape and murder, because meth is dangerous. Meth heads are dangerous. They don't care what they're doing. These things would be a valuable tool if allowed to be used more often. It would reduce the prison population to manageable numbers, save the taxpayers millions, if not billions of dollars a year, because you're not having to deal with feeding those who have caused harm to society. You're not giving those dangerous types medical care because they're not alive to need it. If you don't hit a vital organ and the organs are clean, you're saving even more lives, because you can take those usable organs, give them to those who actually do deserve to live, reducing the number of people on transplant lists. Because guess what? There's now an organ available for them, taken from this dangerous type who never deserved it in the first place. Got someone here who's assaulted little kids in a very personal way, using this region here. He don't deserve to live. And those who would be doing the executions, yeah, they would have a great deal on their conscience. Any good man would. And I say that gender non-specifically. But he would be doing a valuable service, just like the hangman in the Old West. They didn't like what they had to do, but it was needed. A soldier doesn't like having to go out and shoot somebody. A police officer doesn't like having to go out knowing he may have to use his gun someday. But they know it's needed. They know one day they may have to. So, if the courts order more executions, the cost for such expenses will go down. More room in prisons, less rapes, less medical care for inmates, because, well, you can draw your own conclusions on that. I'm not going to point it all out for you. And a safer community, because these types will not be alive to reoffend or break out, and it sends a message to others who will do the same crimes. Let's see, should I go break into this person's home and do all these bad things and see what I can take in the process? No. They're cracking down, and I could be caught and executed. Some crimes don't get done. I'm not saying it's effective 100%, nothing is, but it's good conservative thinking as far as I see it. It's a good way to deal with the problem. Those who use their lives to the detriment of others in severe ways forfeit their lives when caught. And I'm saying that not as me being somehow allowed to just go out and shoot somebody. No. Executions are for the courts. I am not a judge. I am not a lawyer. Just an average person with what I think is common sense. They need court-ordered executions on a more liberal basis. Now, if someone breaks in here, you can bet this is going to be what's going to deal with them, if they're lucky. just like anyone else in a state that allows it. And they won't live to see appeals after appeals after appeals. Because it's simple physics. You get shot in the chest, your heart and lungs go bye-bye, you die before an ambulance has a chance to get here. Get down on the ground! Down on the ground! Bang! That bang is if they fail to comply. Obviously, if they comply, they do what I say, they live. They don't, they reach for their weapon, or they draw it up like this, then obviously, bang. That's just common sense. They do what I say, they live, I call the police, then they go to jail, and unfortunately they go into the legal system. But that's not for me to decide. I'm just doing what the law says. Someone breaks in, you have the right to shoot them in this state. I'm not going to tell you what state I'm in. But in this state, if someone does break into your home, you are legally allowed to shoot them. I will give them as much of a chance as I can, because I don't want a death on my shoulders. But if you don't give me a choice and you're breaking in, they will be down on the ground one way or the other, and I will be calling the sheriff's office. And I encourage others to have the same mindset if your state allows it. Obviously, in California, I don't think you're allowed to defend yourself with guns, which is stupid. I mean, what are you going to do? Hello, officer. There's this person who's broken in and tying me up. Okay, we'll be there in 10 minutes. 10 minutes? I need you now. Or, hello, officer. This person just broke in my home. He's got a gun. I can see him. Okay, we'll be there in 10 minutes. 10 minutes? I need you here in 2 seconds. And my alarm is obviously going off. I've got some time limits with YouTube. 15 minutes max. Good old Betsy down here. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree? Let me know. Feel free to subscribe if you wanna. This is Feral Big Dog saying, you have a nice day now and stay safe.